I discovered her stealing my water at 3 a.m. when strange noises outside jolted me awake. There she was, Colleen Hartley, our self-appointed HOA queen, crawling in my backyard like some raccoon in pearls. I watched, stunned, as she twisted a valve on my irrigation system and quietly uncoiled a hose hidden beneath the bushes. It wasn't the first time. My water bill had jumped from $80 to a staggering $650 over a few months, and I had my suspicions. But what Colleen didn't know was that she wasn't just tapping into my reserve tank, she was messing with a critical junction in the neighborhood's entire water system. I could cut her off completely. And I did. 6 months earlier, I had moved to Pinewood Estates. It looked like paradise, modern homes with solar roofs, electric carports, a community garden. After my divorce, all I had left was my engineering degree and a modest savings account. But this place felt like a clean slate. As a water systems engineer with 15 years under my belt, I appreciated the innovative rainwater harvesting setup each house boasted. The sales pitch was all about sustainability and efficiency, and for the first 3 months, my water bills stayed comfortably low. Then April hit, and so did a $350 bill. I figured it was a fluke. By May it was $500, and in June it jumped again to $650. I wasn't home much. 10-hour workdays, quick showers, no garden parties. There was no way I could be using that much water. So, I started tracking tank levels myself and noticed a clear pattern. The reserves dropped sharply during work hours. When I brought it up at the monthly HOA meeting, Colleen cut me off mid-sentence. "Mr. Bellamy," she said with her usual manufactured smile, "we appreciate your concern, but Pinewood has award-winning infrastructure. If you're having high bills, maybe reconsider how long your showers are." Laughter rippled through the board. I was brushed off like some paranoid newbie. But an elderly woman named Ruth Alden quietly approached me afterward. "Check your back tap," she whispered. "You're not the first." That weekend, I caught Colleen red-handed. I asked Kenneth, my tech-savvy neighbor, to help install motion cameras around my backyard. Within 3 days, we captured video of her sneaking through a broken fence panel, opening my tank access with a key, and dragging a hose back toward her house. Kenneth shook his head in disbelief. "She's literally stealing your water. What are you going to do?" I wasn't sure yet. But then came the HOA notice, delivered with official stamps and the smug weight of bureaucracy. It claimed I had made unauthorized modifications to the neighborhood water system and demanded I remove my cameras or face $100 daily fines. Colleen signed it. She even added a note, "We value privacy in Pinewood." That was the final straw. I contacted the neighborhood's original developer under the pretense of planning a renovation and requested the blueprints. They obliged for a consultation fee. As I pored over them one night, coffee going cold at my elbow, I saw something unbelievable. My home sat at the main distribution point for the community's secondary water grid. In other words, I controlled the flow. That changed everything. I invited Ruth over for tea and asked about Colleen's rise to power. Apparently, 4 years ago, the former HOA president began asking questions about discrepancies in water usage. Colleen led a sudden campaign against her, and within 2 months she was replaced. Since then, fees had gone up 70%, and anyone who questioned it either moved or fell in line. Ruth also dropped a bomb. Colleen had a hidden pool. Not officially a pool, Ruth clarified. It's hidden under a retractable deck. She calls it a water feature. But it's a pool. My nephew installed the landscaping. She charges friends to use it. We captured drone footage. Sure enough, during one of Colleen's private events, the deck slid back to reveal a shimmering blue pool surrounded by loungers, umbrellas, and champagne glasses. I installed a second, hidden water meter to track every drop. Then I devised a plan using a remote-controlled valve system. Whenever Colleen tapped in, I'd let the flow run for a few seconds, then shut it off. Let it trickle back. Intermittent, just annoying enough to confuse her, but not so obvious she'd know she was caught. The day she threw her biggest summer bash, I let the pool fill halfway, then shut it off. Guests complained. Toilets didn't flush. Water pressure tanked. Colleen showed up at my door, seething. "You'll regret this, Bellamy," she spat. "You don't know who you're dealing with." I just smiled. I'm just a guy with a water bill. The next escalation came days later. A van marked as a plumbing company rolled into my driveway. Two men got out, began unscrewing my tank panel. I called the cops. Colleen arrived moments before they did, waving forged papers claiming I'd authorized emergency repairs. The signature was laughable. I pressed charges. Trespassing. Forgery. Vandalism. I had footage too. Everything. My friend Jonathan, a real estate attorney, sent a cease and desist letter to the HOA demanding a financial audit and Colleen's recusal. Doug, her loyal VP, called me late that night. She's furious. Said you declared war. She's threatening liens, eviction, blackballing. I'm just saying, tread carefully. Tell her to check her chlorine levels, I said. She might see blue. Because I'd introduced a harmless water tracer invisible in my system, but when mixed with pool chlorine, turned neon blue. During her next party, the water changed color. It was impossible to ignore. Guests panicked. She blamed me publicly. Said I tampered with her supply. Unless, a neighbor mused aloud, your pool's illegally hooked up to his tank. Game over. City inspectors arrived days later. Confirmed the connection. Issued violations. Shut the pool down. A formal investigation followed. My compiled documents, footage, meter readings, and statements were more than enough. The city and DA both got involved. Colleen tried one last time to rally support at a final HOA meeting. Claimed she was the victim. I countered with a USB stick full of proof. Her forged documents. Her threats. Her water theft. Doug finally stood up and turned on her. She forged my name. She blackmailed me. I'm done. Even the auditors confirmed $270,000 in missing funds. Payments to companies tied to her sister. Lavish event expenses billed to the HOA. The room turned. Residents voted overwhelmingly to remove her. Her carefully built empire crumbled in one night. She was charged with theft, fraud, and forgery. Ordered to pay restitution. Her pool was filled in and repurposed as a community splash pad. Her reputation evaporated like the stolen water she once quietly siphoned. Today, I help other communities detect water theft and redesign sustainable systems. What started as one stolen hose turned into a neighborhood transformation. Colleen still lives here, court ordered to complete community service and banned from HOA leadership. But now, Pinewood Estates is run by people who care, who listen, who can serve. Justice, like water, always finds its level. I discovered her stealing my water at 3 a.m. When strange noises outside jolted me awake. There she was, Colleen Hartley, our self-appointed HOA queen, crawling in my backyard like some raccoon in pearls. I watched, stunned, as she twisted a valve on my irrigation system and quietly uncoiled a hose hidden beneath the bushes. It wasn't the first time. My water bill had jumped from $80 to a staggering $650 over a few months, and I had my suspicions. But what Colleen didn't know was that she wasn't just tapping into my reserve tank, she was messing with a critical junction in the neighborhood's entire water system. I could cut her off completely. And I did. 6 months earlier, I had moved to Pinewood Estates. It looked like paradise, modern homes with solar roofs, electric carports,